What's up, guys? Welcome back, man, to another episode of the Sim Standard Hangout, Sim Standard Podcast, whatever y'all want to call it. Just happy to bring another one to you guys, man. I think this is going to be a good show, man. We got Azure on, as you guys can see. Smitty will be on a little bit later. Smitty's running a tad bit late, but he'll be here. But we got some good stuff to talk about, man. Like always, we're going to give you guys our quick introductions, talk about our football teams and such. But then we'll go into the topics. So I'll go ahead and let you guys know what that's going to be real quick, letting you know what to expect. We want to talk about the Madden 18 Audibles on the fly. That was the most recent feature that came in Madden's most recent update or patch or whatever you want to call it. So we'll give our thoughts on that, and kind of give our thoughts on whether we think it's good or bad. Was it a competitive move or what have you? But we'll share our thoughts on that. We also want to talk about what is sim football versus how it compares to when you play in Madden. This is a very touchy topic, man. I know Azure wants to chime in on this. We've talked about this before, but it's something that needs to continue to be talked about. And, AZ is going to take it in a slightly different direction, although I do agree with where he's going. So we'll have a discussion on that. And then the last thing, man, it came to me about 2 hours or so ago. I want to give a shout out to on Twitter. His name is @TimLittiero. I hope I'm saying that correctly, man. It's spelled Lettiero. But he basically sent a list to myself and Swami, and I think Mr. Hurricane, maybe a couple other people. He has a long list here as far as things he wants to see in Madden 19, excuse me. So what we'll do is we'll read the list, and then we'll go through it. Maybe we'll go through it one by one, and we'll give our thoughts on it. But more importantly, since we always ask you guys, what should we be expecting out of dev cycles, maybe we'll talk a little bit about what things from this list do we think could possibly be in Madden 19. So I think that should take us for 2 hours, and that'll be the show. All right, so before we get started, man, first and foremost, say what's up to everybody. I'm going to throw it to Azure, man. Tell us how was your week and how you currently feeling about your Tennessee Titans.
Week was good, man. I got one more day until Christmas break.
Oh,
out for vacation, man. So that's one of the perks of being an educator.
Yeah, man.
Christmas break and summer and all that kind of stuff. So tomorrow is that. So I'm looking forward to that and spending some time with the family for the holidays. I told you all last week about the Titans' inconsistencies, and they laid an egg in Arizona. Only scoring 7 points on a team that they probably should have beat. They didn't give up a touchdown. Like we said, the defense has been playing well. They gave up 4 field goals, so they didn't even give up a touchdown. But they shouldn't to Arizona's offense because they're missing David Johnson, Carson Palmer, and, of course, Larry Fitzgerald is out there. And shout out to him, man, for, I think, moving up to, number 7 all-time.
Yeah, he passed Randy Moss.
He passed Randy Moss, and Larry Fitzgerald is a model citizen, as well as being an excellent football player.
Oh, you went quiet for a minute. I think you're muted.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, there you go.
He deserves every accolade. A great football player, astonishing person, and he deserves it, man. I don't know if he's going to get in the Hall. He should. I think he's a Hall type of guy, but he doesn't have a championship to his name. But he did play well in big games. So, but the Titans laid an egg in Arizona, and they, like I said last week, they stayed out there. Okay, I get it. They stayed out there, and they're going to play San Francisco this Sunday. And San Francisco has been, I think, 3-0, 4-0 in their last 4 games or something like that, with Garoppolo coming on strong now. So the Titans could get beaten, man, end up being out of the playoffs, honestly, just because of how Mariota's playing. The offense just looks terrible. I want Robisky out of there, honestly. Either that or I don't know what's going on. Because Derrick Henry, to me, looked good that game, even though, the rushing yards weren't really there. But you can't give up on the run game. So, you just have to keep pounding away. And at a certain point, the defense is going to break, having to deal with DeMarco Murray and Derrick Henry simultaneously. So it just didn't work out that way. Mariota threw 2 interceptions, one on which I blame on him, one which he was staring down Delaney Walker. The other one, receiver ran the wrong route. And that's something, man, that, what if we saw that in Madden? If you don't have good route running, your receiver runs the wrong route and you throw a pick. I mean, because that happens in football. If you're not on the same page with your receiver, he sees one thing, you see another, you throw the ball, it's a timing route, and that ball is not where it's supposed to be, or you're not where it's supposed to be. That's an interception if the defense reads it right. So, I don't know, man. I'm not feeling too confident about their chances in San Francisco. Hopefully they'll come out and play better. It's just the offense. Defense has been playing lights out for a couple weeks now. But the offense is just, they're sputtering. They need some help. And the talk around Nashville, or just sports radio in Nashville, has been that Marcus is not a franchise quarterback. Gets hurt too much. He makes bad decisions. He's been regressing. And truth be told, I think that Marcus, I just think he's had some difficulty this season. And it's due to his whole offseason. Okay, shoot it. His whole offseason was built rehabbing that broken fibula he had. So he didn't have any time to work on his mechanics and the technical stuff. And so he'll have that time this offseason. And hopefully we'll see how he does, going into, I think, year 4 for him. And if he doesn't do a year 4 after a full healthy offseason, then you look somewhere else. But right now, I think his injuries, and he won't say, he's the type of guy that won't say that he's hurt, but I think he's hurt. And if you saw that play where he got hit and his leg bent under him, he wasn't the same after that. And I fought Robisky for running that type of play. True enough, Marcus could have got down a little sooner, but don't be running him on a read option on a team that has some hitters out there at the safety position. Matthew and the guy that hit him can really lay some wood. So I don't know, man. We'll see what they do in San Francisco, but they have to finish the season and win out, honestly. And they play San Francisco, the Rams, and the Jaguars. I think it's another game in there, maybe, but Jaguars is week 17, and that's for the division.
That's important.
And the Jags are playing lights out right now. So I would say that they're a better team. But if we have to go to Jacksonville, I feel confident in that we could beat them in the wild card in the playoffs. Just because if we got in and they got in, I just don't think that they're an experienced football team to where they would play well in a playoff game. Anytime we have to play them 3 times a year, we pretty much win the 3rd time. So, but the Titans got to get in. So I don't know. We'll see how they look in San Francisco, but the offense is terrible. And if I was John Robinson, Mike Mularkey, and I had this problem, I'd be looking at Robisky and just the whole offensive staff of what changes can we make, or what can we do to get some production? Because right now, 7 points against a team that you probably should have beat by 2 touchdowns, I'm not gonna cut it.
Yeah, man. Jacksonville is one of those teams where, I look at it now and I'm like, okay, all right. So Pittsburgh lost to them, but they look like a good football team. Ben throws 5 interceptions in that game, which don't help. 2 pick sixes. That's already 14 points. So the only game I really look at and I question is Chicago. I mean, no disrespect to the Bears, but the Bears, they shouldn't have lost that game. But it seems like the Bears has beat everybody in the AFC North, which is crazy. They got Cleveland, I think, in the last game, so we'll see how that pans out. But as far as the Steelers, man, wow. It just seems like they're becoming the cardiac kids of this year. I mean, all of these last-minute field goals, I mean, it's great that you can win those games because, again, Pittsburgh lost these games last year. But going into the playoffs, that's really not something I want to rely on. I mean, it's always great to know that a team can come back. When you're in the 4th quarter, you're never out. That's always a good thing. But You don't want to hang your hat on that. Baltimore Ravens, man, it was a divisional game. What you expect? It's what I told people. This is what I did not expect. I don't think anybody watching football this year would have thought that the Baltimore Ravens and the Pittsburgh Steelers would score 38 points on each other. That is crazy. Never in a million years would I thought that the Ravens would score 38 points on the Steelers, nor would I would have thought that we would have scored 39 points on them. I will say this, and this is, not just because I'm a Steelers fan. If they could put up 39 points on this year's Ravens defense, I don't think it's a defense in the league that can stop the Steelers offense when they get going. The question is going to be, man, what's going to happen with our defense? You guys saw it immediately. The absence of Ryan Shazier was it was beyond noticeable from the first time the Ravens touched the ball. We don't have that same speed sideline to sideline. We don't have Ryan Shazier's speed to cover up holes in the defense. We don't have him in the cover game. We won't have him in the middle of the field, because he's got 3 or 4 interceptions this year. This concerns me. Joe Hayden practicing this week. We'll see if he plays against the Patriots. But again, coming off of an injury, what can you expect? I will sum it up with this. I think the Steelers are playing good football. They need to tighten up some defense. At 11-2, I mean, obviously we've already clinched the AFC North. But, if these guys can mess around and somehow get the number 1 seed, maybe they could steal the, if Jacksonville loses, I know we'll be able to clinch home field. Could be interesting. I just don't know if I trust the defense. How much are you going to ask Big Ben and them to keeping you in the game? And I don't know. I'm being a real fan here. I'm not one of those, we're going to the Super Bowl. Nah, man, you got to look at the deficiencies. This game right here against the Patriots, I'll say this, and then we can move on. Win or lose, this will show you what type of team the Steelers is going to be as far as playoffs. If the Patriots come into Heinz Field and they win the game and it's a close game, very competitive, okay, as a Steelers fan, we can feel okay about that. It's still the Patriots, but if it's a competitive game, you can say, all right, maybe they make some adjustments. Maybe we'll get them later. If they march into this game and the Patriots come in there and they just do what they've done to the Steelers here in the last several years, not a good look. I won't feel confident about the playoffs, and I definitely would not feel confident about them going to the Super Bowl. That just is what it is. And I'm going to tell you right now, the way the safeties are playing and covering up the holes that without Shazier, I'm going to tell you now, this might not go the way you guys want it. And I say you guys because some Steelers fans have blinders on. This might not go the way we want it to go. So be prepared. They could very well lose this game on Sunday. However, they could very well win it. I think they're playing with emotion right now. And if the offense is clicking, come on, man. Like I said, if Ben throws for 506 yards on the Ravens, Patriots defense ain't that good, Jack. They ain't that good. But I don't want to see Roethlisberger throwing the ball 66 times. That is retarded. That's just
when you got Le'Veon Bell.
Good Lord, man. But like I said, it's the Ravens. I never would have expected them to score that many on us and us to score that many on them. You never see that in that rivalry. You never see 39-38. That's just, I don't know what that was about, but we'll see, man. They got this one on Sunday, so we'll see how they play in that game. And like I said, win or lose, how the game goes will determine where the Steelers are going to go. If they lose big, that's telling you right there they're not ready. If they lose close, okay, maybe they could get them the second time. And if they win, then you really could be excited. But we'll see. But let's jump off of that, man. AZ, let's go ahead and jump into these topics, man. Again, for you guys who just joined, what we're going to talk about is the Madden 18 Audibles on the fly. We're also going to talk about, what is sim football versus how it compares to when you play Madden. I think we'll start with that one because I know AZ wants to talk about that, and that'll give us some time as well while, we allow Smitty to get on. And then the last thing, man, we're going to go through this list here that's provided by @TimLetiero from Twitter. Has a long wish list here from Madden 19, so we'll go through those things, give our thoughts on what he's suggesting, and then we'll give our thoughts on whether or not we think we could see some of these things in Madden 19. So AZ, man, I'll go ahead and throw it to you, man. Let's talk about that the whole sim football aspect, you know, when playing Madden and how it seems to get crazy sometimes.
Yeah, man, I just wanted to kind of bring this. It's really for the community because my mind is where it is, and it is what it is to me at this point because I'm tired of arguing with sim supremacists or what I call them. I don't know, man. These super sim people who just I don't know. You run across them, you know what I'm talking about. If you you know what I'm talking about, like they think that you can't play a sim football game in Madden, or you know you can't run certain plays if they're broken or whatever. Here's the thing: it's such a fluid conversation because if you are a power running team, you come out in 22 personnel, and the defensive coordinator that you're going against comes out in $1. Not even $1 or a quarter, you know, defense, and you run the ball right up front. If you got three defensive linemen, I got 2 tight ends in the game, along with my offensive line and an extra running back, namely a fullback. I'm expecting to get maybe 5-6 yards before my running back is touched. Now, not in all situations because, I mean, you could, you know, pack people in tight and try to get people free in this space, but when it comes down to it, I'm expecting to get maybe 5-6 yards before somebody's touched, just because of how the field is set up, the personnel on the field, and that's not so because you have people who play Madden like this. They'll come out in pass defenses, defending the run. Not saying that you can't do it, but this is the logic of people that they don't care what personnel they're in. They'll run a 3-4 against a 5 wide or a 46 against a 5 wide and feel comfortable doing so. And that to me is Madden. But at the same time, if I'm running a play and you can't stop it, now we have rules in our league. You can't run the same play within 5 plays. And that just has become a staple of league play because of how people play Madden. I mean, because all people do is search YouTube, find the plays that work the best, and run those, no matter what they are, who the personnel is, whatever. They run in that play. For instance, we all know HB Wham is one of those plays that gets you yardage, pretty much regardless. But in real life, if you're running HB Wham and the defense cannot stop it, you're going to run that play until they stop it. That's sim football. It's replication of the sport. I'm going to do what I do until you can stop me. And I made this reference just like if you have LeBron James on your team, and LeBron James, who can pretty much play all 5 positions. So if he has a mismatch, you're going to find where that mismatch is and put him there and run a play through him every time down the floor until they stop it. And it's the same way. That is real life. Now, the caveat is we're talking about video games and programming and engineering and all this kind of stuff that can be broken and glitch and all this kind of stuff. So that is where you come into playing a video game. But at the same time, for somebody to, you know, kind of say that you can't run a play that works, it's kind of asinine to me because in real life, if you go back to, I think it was the early Super Bowls, the Packers were running some play that the Chiefs couldn't stop. It was like an HB sweep. And he was like, keep running it till they stop it. Is that not football? I mean,
Well, the counter trade, the Redskins.
Right mind, what good coach is gonna say, "Hey, they can't stop this play, but you know what? Let's switch it up. Let's go to the air. They got great defensive backs. Let's throw the ball." No, if you got a great running game or a great passing game, and they don't have cornerbacks, pass the ball. If you got a great running game and they can't defend the run the ball. So this whole idea to me of, you know, you can't run this play or, you know, mix up your play calling has become the root of all evil in the words sim to me. I mean, it's I put it out there to the community and how they feel about it, because my mind is where it is with it. I mean, like I said, the caveat is you playing Madden. It's a video game, and we all know stuff can be manipulated and broken and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, how do y'all feel about people coming out in wrong personnel? You know, or putting 200 at defensive tackle, and just because they fast, they get a sack. Or, you know, what else do people do? It's just kind of crazy. Like, what it used to be was putting like wide receivers at tight end, or, you know, crazy stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, if you put a wide receiver at tight end, I expect my pass rush to get in almost automatically. Like, 'cause if you got that guy out there, I'm going to overload on his side. He can't block nobody. And that's a sack. But, I mean, it hadn't been that way. And it's not that way in Madden, because we're talking about a video game. But I put it to the community and how they feel about it. But, you know, what's your thoughts on it, Sim?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this, you know, of course, offline and in the studio and all of that. Even within our league, because, you know, it's kind of where it came from just recently. And, you know, maybe AZ will expand a little bit on that just to give you guys kind of the scenario. But it's one of those things, and I know Azure agrees with this. I know Smitty does. I know most sim guys do, especially guys like NY Kia. The problem with sim leagues in general, and I've actually had these conversations with competitive guys, and we actually saw eye to eye. When it gets to the point where everyone keeps saying, oh, that's not sim, oh, that's not sim, but then it's something that is actually football that they want to take away from you because they feel like, oh, this OP, or oh, I can't stop that. Well, in all actuality, there are things that we all know in the game that is just an exploit. You know, we know that. Prime example. And even Problem said as much himself when we talked, you know, a while back. There was a time when that fullback dive thing was just crazy. There was really no real way that your team would stop it. I mean, you had to control this guy and load this part up. I mean, it shouldn't be all of that, but for the most part, the fullback dive was going to happen. Quarterback sneak was going to happen. We all know stuff like that. But what Azure is talking about is when people are saying, oh, you shouldn't run certain sets and this and this and that because, you know, we're supposed to be a sim league and we know these things are overpowered. I'm like, look, the whole misconception with the sim league and stuff, there should never be rules set in any league that prevent people from playing real football. That's not where the rules came from, people. We've always put rules in the game to keep it competitive and keep it, you know, keep the strategy going, because there are cheesy and exploit type of things that lobby people do. We don't want to play that type of game in a sim league. That's one of the reasons. But the other reason is because there's certain things that the game don't compensate for. You know, like prime example, we have a rule in our league where if you run the screen, you got to throw it to the running back. Now, you know, we all know Roethlisberger does it all the time. Fakes the screen, hits somebody down the seam. But this game is not built. Madden is just not built well enough to where you can rely any chance of that being covered. Y'all know how the AI works. So that's why we say, nah, you can't do stuff like that. But to tell somebody that you shouldn't run certain formations, I think you're getting too far into the gray area, man. You know, like AZ said, if you can't, that's football, man. You go look at your team play this Sunday. Maybe look at your team play tonight if you're the Broncos or well, maybe that's a bad example. The coach in the Broncos this year, I don't know. But watch football this Sunday. And Saturday, there's some games. Watch the Patriots game and the Steelers game. I guarantee you're going to see some plays repeat themselves. And quite often. Let the run game start working for Pittsburgh. I can tell y'all right now they're going to run counter left, counter right. That's what they do. When Rosie Nix is the lead blocker and David DeCastro is getting out in front, you better believe we running counter, 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 counter. And then if we want to get cute, we'll go in single back and we'll pull Marquise Pouncey. That's all they do until you stop it. That's football. That is football. But in Madden, it has that negative connotation. And I'll be honest, all of us have probably been guilty of it in the sim community because we'll say, man, the game can't stop that. But we got to find a way to draw a line where if you are playing a user, certain stuff like that, I probably can bring somebody else in the box. Or maybe I can user control this one guy if I know, dang, man, Azure is killing me with the toss on the right. Maybe I got to just start playing over there. I shouldn't tell him he can't keep running it. But again, don't get us confused. What Azure said is I fully agree. We don't want you running the same play back to back to back to back. I mean, it because the game lacks the awareness and the adaptive AI, it does kind of make it, because you're at the mercy of the game. You don't know what the dice roll is going to do. So I get it. But to simply tell somebody that play, those plays are too overpowered, you can't run out of these formations, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with it. I think for the most part, most of what's in the game, if you can recognize what your opponent is doing, you can kind of stop a lot of things. And I think it should be up to you, to adjust. Simple as that.
Now with that said, can people learn more football? Yes.
Right.
I myself included. I can learn more X and O's. I could truly take the time and carve out some time to, look at certain stuff and get better. But at the same time, we're talking about just the philosophy of, you can't run certain plays. And like we said, that stuff was put in there to prevent people from running overpowered plays. But within time, it's not the same game that it used to be. And that in Madden 18, you can counter a lot of stuff. So I know my team's weaknesses, the Titans. So as it's been stated on the show, I went out. I got Darius Slay, Janoris Jenkins, excuse my crew over here, Dominique Rogers-Cromartie, Richard Sherman. So I went and loaded up and got secondary so I could run some of the stuff that I like and be able to defend the pass. So, I mean, you got to do stuff like that too. And am I better against the pass? Yes. Are there routes that still beat me with like a terrible wide receiver? And I'll be like, what the heck? That's Richard Sherman over there. Or, yes. But at the same time, you have to build to kind of counter what people are doing. And if you can do that, that's football. But at the same time, if I'm running out there in the wrong personnel and I'm successful just because a play works, then that's different. You know what I mean? That's taking advantage of the game.
Yeah, man. And even with having sim rules, I guess, AZ, we are seasoned enough to where, like, I don't have to watch AZ stream. I don't have to. You don't have to watch I already know he ain't going to do nothing crazy. And to me, I feel like also based on what you do in game should allow you to, quote unquote, bend the rules. Let me explain what I'm saying. If Azure is playing somebody with his Titans, with Henry in the backfield and DeMarco Murray, you got Taylor Lewan and all these big boys up front. If this guy in the league keeps running quarters, I'm not going to be mad if somebody tell me, hey, man, Azure ran dime 5 times straight. Hey, well, listen, I get it. It's supposed to be in the rules, but you need to come out that defense. Exactly. Why wouldn't he run it?
Why are you running, that defense against that personnel? That's not football. And I should be running for 5-6 yards of pop on you before my dude's touched. I mean, that's the kind of stuff we're talking about, that to me gets lost in translation because people go on YouTube, they find the plays that work no matter the personnel, that kind of stuff. I understand that, but to tell a person that they can't run that play is different. Now, should they be as successful as they are? If I'm in the right personnel, no. But if I'm in the wrong personnel, they probably should. So
absolutely. All right, y'all. Don't tell Smitty we was talking about him. He in here now.
Oh, whatever.
Y'all be quiet.
Smitty.
Hey, what's up, y'all?
I throw you right into this conversation, man. And what we did is we tackled the topic in regards to what is sim football versus how it compares when you play in Madden. We've talked about it before.
Oh, yeah.
But just to, throw you the alley-oop, basically, we're kind of talking about the discussion that's been going on in the league, last couple of days about you shouldn't run this personnel because it's overpowered. And, so we're just saying that it seems like things get lost in translation where sometimes people are overly, that's not like it's not sim because you decide to call a certain formation or run a certain personnel package against a personnel that you should be able to win on. Like some of that ownership should be up against the user. The user should adjust to some of these things that we're doing that's real football based.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that in general, man?
I just feel that if it's a game, if it's exploiting the game and you can't really stop it, then that's when I feel, okay, you know what? Don't use this package. If you have, if you got a particular kind of player in that particular set, because if he has a certain rating that he's going to execute almost every time or whatever, then it's like those case scenarios, it's like, don't run this play. Don't use this personnel. Don't use that guy. So it gets circumstantial. But in the grand scheme of it all, you should be able to call whatever play you want. You know what I'm saying? Like, my big deal is receivers run their routes too slow. You got my man who got the 49ers in the league, and oh boy, I don't know my man's name off top, but dude got 20 plus sacks easy because he could blow the block up just like that before any of your receivers run their routes at all. So it's like you barely have time to throw the ball away, let alone throw it to an option. So that's why I've said that based upon where you get hit at, you need to still be able to follow through on the pass instead of your quarterback like you try to throw it and then make you just tuck the ball in all of a sudden and eat a sack. Instead of that, if he hits me low or if he's hitting me in my waistline and I still am in the throwing motion, let me still throw it. Even if it's inaccurate or overthrow a possible INT, I could live with the fact that I still tried to throw to that target. You know what I'm saying? Regardless, give me the ability to do what I need to do. But, you gotta be able to counteract it. And what I'm talking about is something realistic. You see, I'm not saying like, put in a system that's going to stop somebody from being able to get to me because of this. Like, no, I'm saying if he blows my block up like that, I need to be able to get that ball out quick. I got somebody that already ran a 5-yard route, turned around or something like that. I could get it out real fast. And if it's inaccurate, cool. But at least I could get it to him. And Madden now, you can't really do that. You know what I mean? It makes it virtually like it makes it extremely challenging to be able to do that. And it's more of the way the game functions. It's not really because of football. It's because of the way the game is interpreting certain scenarios. Some players can react faster than others. So that's the issue. You know what I mean? Like a D lineman can blow up a blocker just like that. But your receivers run their routes slow, they run them slow enough that they can't truly progress their route. So that's something that needs to be worked on. You know what I mean? But back to the main point, if the play call or the personnel you have in whatever package, offensive, defensively, is more like a money-esque kind of play, then it shouldn't be, there needs to be some kind of rule against it. Because that's not fair. You know what I mean? That's where it's like cheating the system. It's not about saying, oh, well, you just need to execute better or you need to pick a better play. Excuse me. No, you're exploiting the system. That's a problem. So that needs to be addressed. What else would I say in that regard? I think that's pretty much it. Because otherwise, yeah, like dudes watch games in the league. You study up on your opponents. You see what they're doing. And then you try to game plan as best as you can about it. That's what you're supposed to do. That I full on respect. But, and appreciate. But, like, for example, they need to fix the hit stick tackling. Like we talked about it before, but hit stick tackling is money. You know, it's like all of a sudden everybody on defense can blow somebody up. Yeah, it's like that's arcade, man. They can't do that. Just because they're a defender, it needs to be a balance. Just because a defender goes for a hit stick doesn't mean he's getting it every single time. You know what I mean? Weight, momentum, skill, all that stuff needs to factor in. Positioning needs to play a role. Yo.
How you feel about, because it's kind of different in CFM. I hear what you're saying on the hit stick side, but let's just say this goes to the whole XP thing of I'm a purchase, you know, I'm gonna make my guy a hitter if he's a hitter, or I'm gonna purchase big hitter, whatever trait, and up his tackling, up his hit power. I mean, how do you feel about that? Because I mean, CFM is a little different in that it's in succession as opposed to like play now or whatever, where you have guys that you know are not big hitters pulling off big hits or something. So I mean, how you feel about people who, I mean, how you feel about in CFM being able to do that over a period of time, like making a possession receiver a speed receiver, or you know, kind of like that. It speaks on progression.
I like that. I like that. See, you know, it needs to take, okay, like how in NCAA, how you can develop coaches, right? You could develop your offense and defensive coordinators and your head coach. And you have certain abilities and stuff like that that can be built up over time. I would like to see that though, but it'd be different for the players in the sense that, you know, like let's say you got elite, you know, just like the MUT cards or whatever, you could have those tiers: elite, gold, silver, bronze, and nothing at all, like base level. They don't have anything. And be able to gain and regress, you know, by gaining a certain level based off of whatever it is that they do or how they progress during the season. Then now they get the ability, you know, they can become a receiver. Like they could go from progressive to speed, you know, if they have that particular speed. Because I mean, usually you come in with the speed you got in the NFL. I haven't seen a guy come in slow and all of a sudden get fast. But I'm just saying though, to your point, you can well, you know what? What if you did, see, this would be taking things a bit further, but like, let's say you had a tight end that came in bigger and beefy, but let's say he slimmed down and got, you know what I mean, he got in better condition. Now, this is a trade-off. He doesn't have as much dexterity because he's smaller now. You can make him stronger and smaller, but at the same time, he can't take the hits like how he used to, and he's more susceptible to injury. But you can make him that speed burner, though. So it's like, trade-off.
I still like to see that progressive fatigue, you know what I'm saying, for people who overuse players.
Yeah.
Yep. You know, you give your guy 400 to 500 carries a season, that's got to wear on him, you know, during the course of his career, as opposed to him just, you know, running out there like he's a Clydesdale every season.
Right.
You know, that kind of stuff too. And, you know, remember when, I think it was, they talked about how you could go injury. I'm not saying injury, but I'm not seeing any penalties for going for aggressive catch. How it is now, because you're not really getting popped by the safeties, as Sim showed in your video. The safety's not doing what they're supposed to do.
Nothing.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. And you know what? They need that injury system. Basically, 2K has what EA already had. That system in NFL head coach.
Yeah.
Head coach, that was a head coach. Like, you had it where players could get nicked up. Your old lineman could get nicked up, and they need to sit out for a few plays before they could go back in. Like, stuff like that. You need to make CFM count to that level where it's like, yeah, I got a secondary old lineman, you know, or I got 2 or 3 centers, or I got 2 or 3 tackles or whatever, or guards, but you essentially can just play the starter at all times. You don't have to rotate nobody. And head coach, you had to. Otherwise, that dude's gonna mess around and, like you said, the progressive fatigue.
And then it would tell you, like, do you want to practice Lindell White today? He's a little banged up. You can sit him out of practice. Like I don't want to go down that road just because of how sour it is.
That's it, man. We need
but
it.
That's it, though. That's yeah. That's what needs to happen, man.
It all comes down to, I know some people will be like, yeah, but y'all are talking more CFM features, but all of this stuff relates to all of that.
Yeah.
If we had this stuff in the game, then all the stuff we talking about, for the most part, it wouldn't matter. Like, you couldn't run the same thing. All of this stuff would make a difference if the features we just talked about, weight and momentum and all of these things. It's tough. It's a tough balance, man, because the game is not where it's at. It's not where it's supposed to be at. It's just not. So even some of the rules that some of us have come up with over the years, now it's even getting tiresome because it's like, come on, man. Like, it's almost like you're making so many rules that you're taking away so much from the game because of the lack of things that's in the game. That's beginning to not even be enjoyable. And that's kind of where we're going with it, man. It's like, and we're not talking about exploitable things. We're talking about there's certain plays or formations that you could come out in that somebody should be able to combat on defense, but because they might not be in the right formation or whatever, they want to say, oh, you can't run that. That kind of stuff, I'm not with that. I'm only cool with things that are clearly exploitable that cannot be stopped. Like, let's say like when Nanos was in the game and the AI was unable to pick him up. And, again, really what only happens with that is the Band-Aid comes in by putting in the nano detection. That didn't fix the problem. That didn't fix the AI issue. But that's a whole other story. But what we're saying is, in exploits like that, cool. But real football stuff that you should have the ability to combat on defense, you shouldn't be saying that, oh, you can't run that play, you can't do that formation, you can't, like, nah. I ain't cool with that, man. But moving on, guys, because I definitely want to get to the Madden 19 stuff before the top of the hour. I'll throw it to AZ real quick. We'll just wrap up this other topic very, very quick. AZ or Smitty, whichever one of you guys jump back in first. How do you feel, man, about the audibles on the fly? I mean, that's really the only major thing that I could talk about from the last patch. What are your thoughts on that? Is it a good thing, bad thing? Does it benefit the tourney guys or what?
It's a good thing. I think it's more for the tourney guys. At least for me, because of how I call plays. I don't really go by formations. I go more by play type. So I don't even really use it like that. And I kind of liked the audibles, how they have them just stock in the game. But I think it's more for competitive use, trying to catch your opponent off guard. Audibles on the fly, as opposed to having them just stuck game until the end of the game. I think it's a nice feature that you added. I think it's more so for competitive guys who probably wanted that type of, for people who are heavy into audibles as well. I mean, because if you think about it, if you're a heavy audible person, that's something that you can use and kind of switch your game plan on the fly. So, I mean, I think it's more competitive thing. We can also barely touch on this if we have time about the 2K League and the unveiling of, their logos and how NBA teams are kind of showing out.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, if we can, we definitely want to circle back around on that.
Yeah, we should be able to get to it. Because it shouldn't take us too long to do the Madden 19 thing. What I'm going to do is just read the list, and then we can kind of comment on it there. I think it is way too long to try to go through each thing. But yeah, what's your thoughts, Smitty, on the audibles, man? And like I said, that seems to be really the only thing that really happened in that patch outside of, some maintenance stuff. But what are your thoughts on the audibles on the fly?
The audibles on the fly was fine. It's like what Rex and the guy said, from the article, at least the blog about it is basically, this is something that is a piece. Like, this is a new system that's built into the game that they're going to be elaborating on and now, in the future and everything. So it's a nice piece, but I would say this, the way it was promoted was like, it should have just been, to be brutally honest, even though everyone can use it, it honestly should have just been, hey, tourney guys, this is a big day for you guys, because it honestly caters more to that end of the spectrum than it would to the sim. And the only reason why I say that, even though it does cater to our crowd, the problem is the gameplay functionality isn't there yet to really say, oh man, yo, if the core efficiency of the game was higher and the defensive zone play was much better, then yeah. I mean, we still have issues with shading. You know what I mean? So it's like, let alone how defenders are covering. So, so to have the quick audibles, it's cool to have them, but it's not enough to say, yo, now this is something right here. I can't wait. Now, if CFM was built out a lot more at this point right now, Madden 18, yeah, that would be a nice compliment. I'd be like, bet. Now, across the board, we all could be happy. But you look at on this side, it's not, CFM is where we're at. It's barren. On the franchise side of the game, on the must side of the game, look, you got your chemistries, you got all these different player abilities and all that stuff. You have all these different things that you can entertain yourself with. Madden doesn't have that as of yet on the CFM side. I'm not saying it needs to be just like mud, no, but I'm saying, no, it doesn't have enough. There isn't enough there yet to really get, to jump on that and latch onto it and say, hey, y'all, we put this audible system in the game now. Y'all should be really excited with it. It's like, it is nice. Don't get me wrong. It is a nice system. I like it, and it definitely works for CFM and all that. It definitely does. That is a nice touch. But what we really want to get into, like I said, we're going to get into that in a moment. But the main thing is that we need the mode to be robust, so that complementary things like that are like, oh man, that's another notch under the belt. Right now, it's just like, okay, y'all did it, and it works nice, and we appreciate that. But it's like, what's going on? What you guys have over the horizon? Because this isn't. It's not something that gets me jacked up and say, man, come on, 19. Like, no, it's like, okay, I respect it, and that's why I said on Twitter, I see, this is a nice piece. This is a nice foundational piece they added. Awesome. Now let's see what they do going forward. Like, but I respect, I understand from the blog what they're getting at. So I appreciate it. It's a nice touch, and it goes good within the league, of course. But then give us the whole architecture, and then we could really talk. So.
Yeah, that's the thing, man. It's funny. I just peeped this terrible interception that Simeon threw. Jesus Christ! Just pray for them teams, man. I know the Colts without Andrew Luck and such and such, but what happened to them? It's a shame for have a team that could be that good defensively just fall apart when there's no real offense to go with it. But anyway. I feel the same of what AZ and Smitty said about the audibles. I will say it's a good feature. I'm not mad that it was put in. You know, I'll take it. Great feature, but the problem is like Smitty said, I think most of us here on this show, we're at a point where we're like, okay, we just need the game to move forward in gameplay. And when we talk about forward, it's like we've said before, the game has stuff. It's just that they need to build on these things and make more things matter. And I think once the gameplay finally nails a lot of the stuff that we want and stop robbing us for this and stop taking this away, stop nerfing this, nerfing that, then we would really appreciate the audibles. So it's not like we're saying if audibles on the fly wasn't a big deal, because believe me, there's a ton of people in the community that have asked for that, especially the competitive guys. And I've seen some guys that wanted it as well. And listen, I like it, but it doesn't hit that, it doesn't hit us that hard because we're still like, yeah, it's nice, but we're still dealing with the same game. However, I will say the beauty of it is I do like the strategy aspect of it, because now I think AZ touched on this a bit. I could come out in the same set and run like 15 different plays. And you don't know what I'm doing. What if I come out in a jumbo package, and I'm like, okay, this time I'm going to switch the audible to this. Then I'm going to switch it to the counter. Then I'm going to switch it to the stretch. Then I'm going to do play action. You don't know. I could come out in the same set, like eight plays straight, and you don't know what's coming because you can't get a read on it.
To play, honestly,
Yep.
to where you don't know what's coming. Or you start to think that it's the same. Like, okay, I know he's about to run left here, and then boom, the ball comes out the belly and it's going up top. So, I mean, to me, that's the most effective people. People who have a scheme like that of, I'm going to run this formation the entire game, especially if it's a balanced look.
Yep.
Like 2 tight ends, a balanced set. You don't know what's coming. I was killing people online with that when game first came out because they didn't know what was coming. And to me, that's the most effective way to play it in football, period. Because, I mean, if you can say, oh, okay, they're running such and such on the field, we know what play is coming, he's about to get the ball.
Exactly.
That's not effective. Whereas it's the same personnel all the time, and you don't know who's getting the ball, that's tough to defend.
Yep. And see, Azure probably knows this, and everybody else in the league, because and that's another good thing about us either streaming the games or uploading the whole game after, because you can kind of scout. Like with having Martavis Bryant, there's no secret. Everybody knows at some point I'm gonna catch you in play action, and you leave him in single coverage. I probably have hit this dude 14 times this season. However, here's what I don't like: when I'm in game, I don't have that play as an audible. So it's like, dang. Because what I usually like to do is, I still, me and Azure play very similar. Like, we're not going to show you, we might show you the same look, but we'll wait until you done forgot about this play. Then we might come with it. So I would love to be able to, oh man, I forgot to make that an audible way out of the game. I would love to be able to now in game, I can say, all right, I'm going to make this play action an audible. And just keep, like you said, run other plays. You done forgot about it. Then when you give me the look, I can audible to that. Instead of having it, see what I'm saying? Instead of having to call that, then audible out of something else. So that's where it's beneficial, where you can switch up your defense, whoever you're playing, thinking, okay, I know what he's going to run out of this set. Then you throw another play in there. That's where it's great. But like we said, it just doesn't, we're not, pumping our fists, but only because, we still just are not satisfied with the gameplay as a whole. So it's kind of like, yeah, that's sweet, but it'd be even better if, we had a game where the game was tight. Then we would be overly excited about it. So just our quick thoughts, man. All right, man. So let's get into this Madden 19. And again, man, hopefully I'm saying this guy's name correct. I got the information a few hours ago before the show started. His Twitter name is @TimLettiero, @TimLettiero. He has sent a list, took a picture and sent a list of the things that he wants in Madden 19. Sent it to myself and Moonlight Swami and a couple other people. Excuse me. So I decided, man, go ahead and give him some light, man. Give him some shine. Let's talk about his list. So what I'm going to do, guys, I'm going to read it exactly how I got it. I haven't proofread it or anything. So if there's anything that's, you know, grammar-wise or misspelled, whatever, I don't know. We're just going to read it as I got it. And we can all react to it organically. I have not read any of this list. So let's go ahead and do it. And then what we'll do, I'll throw it to Smitty and Azure and myself. We'll kind of talk about some of the things maybe that stick out. Of course, we won't be able to dissect everything, but let's give it a shot. So here we go. First thing, guys, he says AI awareness. He has in parentheses linemen, quarterbacks, and all players, basically. I'm assuming what he's saying is just improved awareness, which we all can agree with that. He has horse collar tackles, slider adjustments, more in-depth sliders for accuracy, defense, etc. Sideline awareness for all players. Ability to fully control where players go. For a running play, I will run with the HB where I see a hole, but would it be forced me to cut back into alignment where the play is supposed to go. Let me read that again, guys. I was a little choppy on that, so make sure you guys understand what he's saying. He says ability to fully control where a player goes. In parentheses, for a running play, I will run with the running back where I see a hole, but it will force me to cut into a lineman where the play is supposed to go. Smaller injuries. And he says injury severity slider. A morale system. Yes. I'm going to interrupt my reading right there. Yes, I would love that. Cameras are horrible in my opinion, so I'm guessing he wants some more cameras, maybe some custom cameras. Realistic animations, in parentheses, running backs, break tackle animations are horrible, fumbles, drops, etc. Camera shots, no more coaches and blank player sidelines. He says, put correct name, skin colors, and etc. on the sideline players, which shouldn't need to be said. I agree with him there. More emotion from coaches and players. Everything is very blank. Off-field drive issues. Super Sim needs retooling. Player career mode is horrible. No story, no plot, nothing. You either force yourself to start or you sit on the bench for 3 years. Plus many glitches. Doesn't seem like it was played very well. Oh no, it says doesn't seem like it was played with at all. I have to agree with him on that real quick. I think the usership or the usage of that mode as a player, I don't really see it. You know, you gotta shout out guys like QJB who has kept that alive, even Anto and a couple others. Outside of that, you don't really see much of that. It says no career mode for any position. Make it happen. Kicker, lineman, more in-depth in certain positions. A realistic sim engine. Stats are insanely unrealistic, backup running backs, inflated touchdowns, etc. Better coverage. Players are plain stupid. That's what he said. Realistic attributes for rookies. Too many similar players and undrafted rookies that are easily better than more or less starters. I've seen that. I agree with him there. Better return games. Players don't block. Have people who actually watch each team, rate each team's players. Some players have stats where you can tell they don't watch them play. Not sure exactly what he's saying there. Let me read that again, guys. He says, have people who actually watch each team and rate each team's players. Some players have stats where you can tell. Oh, okay. I think he's talking about the rating. So, Dustin, if you're hearing this, he's coming at you with that one. So he's basically saying there needs to be a better rating system, maybe more people who are watching the games. You know, and I know these guys do, but I think what he's saying is just overall a better rating system. Doesn't appear that players are being rated based off of performance. And I kind of have to agree with him on one aspect. There's a lot of global ratings that go on the back end. Neff has noticed that as well. So just give my little 2 cents on that. Almost done here, guys. And then I'll throw it to Smitty. It says better development system, too easy to upgrade injury deals for maybe a week each. Oh, wait a minute. I messed up something there. Better development system, too easy to upgrade with injury. So deals for maybe a week each season where injury, speed, etc. is cheap and where awareness is expensive. Okay. QB accuracy is still broken. So I'm assuming he wants better inaccuracy and things like that. poor blocking. He wants improvement with blocking. He says, just because I may play on rookie, pro, all pro, etc., doesn't mean my team should play better or worse. I think I know what he means by that one. Bring back the 100 attribute rating. This year was perfect to do that with John Ross. How did you not miss this one? How did you miss this one? I don't know. We'll talk about that one if you want to, guys. I don't know if that really matters. I mean, 99 to 100. What do these ratings mean anyway? So not to knock that his opinion there, but I don't know if that really makes much of a difference right now. Make practice squad relevant is kind of pointless. Make elite players elite. Make average players average. Differences between Brady and Cousins and Kuechly and Robertson. And the last thing he has here, well, two more things. Custom celebrations and animations. It says, side note, certain players celebrate. Dez with the X. Certain players don't celebrate. Barry Sanders type players like Witten, etc. And then the last thing he says is make coaches actually matter. Like firing, signing staff. It's literally worthless in his opinion. All right, so that's how it reads. Hopefully you guys can decipher the actual feedback and the wish list stuff. So I think there's a good amount of things here. Smitty, I'll start with you. If you want to see the full list, Smitty is in the description of the show here, so you can look at it there. What kind of sticks out in your mind, and what, if any, of these things you think could possibly be in Madden 19?
I'm looking at it. 100 attribute rating is not that big of a deal. That doesn't need to be there. That's something you do after everything's done. Celebrations, same
difference
thing.
In 199. Like,
right.
Let me say this, Smitty, and if my man is listening, again, we're not knocking anything, but from being in the building, we kind of know how these guys work and how they listen to feedback. When we send out feedback, let's make sure we're really in depth. Like, explain exactly what you want. Let's not say, because I know there's people that's going to always say, oh, they should know. No, let's not do that. Tell them exactly what you want, a la Deuce Douglas. We need to start framing it, so explain to them exactly what you're expecting out of your feedback, because some of the things we read there was kind of vague, even though we know how to internalize it. Make sure you're positioning it, you're presenting it in the right format. But my bad. Go ahead, Smitty.
That's cool. Off-field drive issues. Oh, okay. All right. You could do work on Super Sim. Okay, because there's a crowd. There's a crowd for that. So that's something to cater to. Realistic animations. Realistic animations is a big one. Morale system. Yeah, that could start to be built. That could start. Okay. Horse collar tackles. Depends on how deep they're going as far as penalty system. That could be done. And also what the NFL allows too, because there's still that variable. They're not like the NBA. So
I would expect to see jersey pulls along with that. I'm just saying.
Yeah, man. Yes, sir. More emotion from coaches. Okay. That's more of just additional eye candy. Career mode does need some life to it, but it doesn't need to be a scripted scenario. You already got long shot for that, so you don't need to do that. Better coverage for sure. Realistic attributes for rookies.
But that's a perfect opportunity right there, what Smitty is reading. If we all know what that means, but start presenting feedback as if the people you're giving it to don't know what you're talking about. That's the best advice I could give people. Because what is better coverage?
Right.
and I'm not getting on you. I'm just saying, this is our job as quote unquote liaisons for the community to Madden, kind of educating you guys on listen, this is how you should present the feedback. Because listen, it happened to us. Smitty and Azure knows this when we were there several years ago, and Clint started challenging us with, okay, I hear what you're saying. Now, how would you implement that? How would you envision that working? And that started allowing us to give more and more feedback. And a lot of the things that has made it in the game and the way it functions is because of the way we told them that's how it should function. So
yeah. And just to add on to that, Rex has shouted out that guy Gut Fox, the guy from the Mutt Men.
Oh yeah,
do that podcast. He did an article. He did a blog piece, and he basically talking about issues. We talked about it on this show. I'm pretty sure we sent multiple pieces of feedback to them regarding those issues, but he detailed it all. He just didn't say this. He didn't laundry list it. He listed it, but he also gave additional points why this is. And let me tell you why. Like, that's what he did. And Rex was like, this is a great example of feedback right here. What Rex tries to do, Clint tries to do, what we try to do, we try to let you guys know how you guys got to give feedback. It's one thing when you got a video example to support your point. That speaks volumes. Give a little narrative and let them know what it is. But if you're not doing that, you got to reference what it is that you're talking about. Break it down exactly what it is that's not going on. That what you want to see done better. And let it be known that way. So that way they can understand and start building that out. Or that's a more receptive point that can be talked about. You know what I'm saying? You can have a discussion off of it. Because I've seen at times where Clint will ask questions on Twitter, and all of a sudden people are put into a whirlwind to an extent in terms of how they should answer it. Because he asked, just like how, Sim was saying, okay, so you're saying they should do this, but what about this variable over here? Oh, you know what? I didn't even think of that. See, I got to account for that. So what are we going to do about, you talked about variable B, but what about variable A? What about variable C? And there's an unknown factor D over here. So how are we going to make it happen? And that's the kind of stuff that, these things are done in layers, and that's why there's so many layers to this stuff. But everything he's saying here, and I mean, I seen, I think it was Daryl that said it, but someone said in the chat here that, the visuals add immersion. Animations on the sideline, seeing coaches' emotion, that adds immersion. It does. And I'm not saying look, when people post online, on Twitter, on YouTube, they're not sideline stuff is, whatever. It's a problem. It's not exactly where it needs to be. But, oh, man, this gameplay, though, this is unacceptable. Like, see what I'm saying? People go ham on what's happening on the field. People are going ham on what's going on with that, what's not going on in franchise. So if I'm going to pay attention, if I'm going to put the most value and emphasis, am I going to come up and say, hey, work on the penalty system? I want to see offsetting penalties. That's something we need to get to. But at the same time, it's priority. Look what's going on right now in the game. Look at how people are talking about the game in terms of what's wrong with it and glaring issues and things like that. That's what they're going by. Because I remember talking to one of the devs years ago when we went down there, and I talked about the penalty system. He told me, I seen the videos about the penalty system, and it was Sean Grady. He's one of the executive guys. I see what you're talking about, Smitty. I seen your videos and all. I see what you're talking about. Trust and believe. We're going to get it. We're going to get to it. Just give us time. We're going to get to it. All right. And that was before I understood, the whole process of things. I was on my very first visit down there. But it's like they acknowledge it, but it's about what's priority. So when I'm looking through this list, I'm looking for things that are priority. All of these things are priority, but what I feel makes sense as far as happening next year, Madden 19. Some of these things you may not be able to do yet because you have to put other systems in place first in order to put those systems there. You see what I'm saying? So it's layers, and that's why I say there's layers to getting it done. You know what I mean? But ultimately, it needs to be done. That's just it. When people look on the other side of the fence and look at NBA 2K, you look at my league. My league is my league, and all that depth and immersion. That's like at least a decade's worth of work for them to have what they got with that. You know what I'm saying? I see a lot of stuff that was done in association mode in my league. So it's like they took from what was done back then and built it all up. It took time. And that's the same situation that Rex is in. He's got to build it. So, but the points that I named out, QB accuracy, QB accuracy, blocking, AI, sliders. I don't know, sliders you can put a question mark on because I don't know. That's a rabbit hole right there. I don't know. And morale system, I can at least see that being started. And realistic animations, yes. I could definitely see that happening. And then better coverage, like I said, but it apply. You gotta elaborate, of course, but yeah. So those are at least 5 things. There's more here, but I mean the fellas can elaborate on that, but those are some that stick out.
What you got, AZ? Out of this list, what things may have stuck out to you, but then more importantly, what out of these things do you think has a chance of us seeing in Madden 19?
Hold on, I'm here, but let me pull up the list right quick. All right. I don't know, man. The morale system is something that we've seen with the confidence, but it was more so in what was it, 16? That it was more prevalent. But even with that, people didn't like it. Like people would say, "Oh, my team is just playing bad because their confidence is low." Then you take it away, and then like people want it back. So I mean, lose situation with that kind of stuff. But I like to see hot and cold streaks to let me know when my players are playing bad, or why my players dropping the pass as opposed to just being a random dice roll. But yeah, man, stuff like that.
Yeah, man, we got Dez on the line, man. Dez wanted to chime in on this particular topic, so take it away, Dez. I don't know if you had a chance, man, to look at the list, but out of this list that you see here, what of these things do you feel catches your eye? And more importantly, what out of these things do you feel like might find its way in Madden 19? Yo, Dez, you there? There you go.
You hear me?
Yeah, there you go. Yep.
What's going on, man?
Nothing much, man.
What's up, man?
So hopefully a lot of it makes it in. For franchise, I've said for a minute now that if they overhaul the stats in the game, it'll help franchise a lot. Development standpoint, and like if they're gonna be married to XP and to numerical ratings, like to showcase the impact that our players had on the game. Whatever the game that they played, most of the time, their impact on the game is not calculated into XP unless they have an unrealistic game. The time where you have your team can, if you're playing against the computer, your team can have 8, 9, 10, 12 sacks in the game, and it's like, all right, if I'm playing against the computer, only way I can get XP from a whole D line or pass rush linebackers is to get sacks or whatever. So yeah, my house blitzed the computer all game and forced the issue because the only way that my corners can get XP is if they get interception. So I'm just gonna play and hope that I get a sack or interception because that's the only way to develop my guys. And it just makes it very boring. So you want to go and be like, all right, well, now I'm going to play all Madden. And 65 overall players are just 99 overall players. And, the game just gets so ridiculous that it's like, all right, this is NBA Jam with computer assistance on extremely hard or whatever that setting was. And it's just like, they don't, to me, have enough actual elements in the game that give us the real control that we need. And then they also they don't use the data that they collect enough to let it translate into having players that fit our schemes and are the type of athletes we need. And so lots of 95 speed guys and 90 plus strength D linemen, and you know what I mean? Like, I feel like CFM ends up turning into mutt on a certain level because you're fighting for draft picks that is the ultra rare whatever's, and it's just like it gets to the point, man, where I don't even know where on that list, if any single thing on that list is going to change the mode unless they change the mode. And listen, man, like, I'm going to be real quick, man, but this past week, that I can say I have officially been rubbed the wrong way as a customer, like officially rubbed the wrong way by the situation. I'm going to try to explain myself real quick to where I'm trying not to be overly emotional about the situation, but for them to ask, what do you want to see in franchise mode? I know y'all just said, don't go back and tell them like that you already told them. Here's my only thing. I'm talking about optics right now. I'm talking about customer service because for whatever reason, EA Sports has made it Clint and Rex's responsibility to be customer service and for y'all to be second level customer service for no money. And they got these guys getting frustrated at people because these people are getting frustrated at them and they're the only person that they can talk to. And the whole entire relationship gets strained. Like, y'all need to have a Twitter team and take the standard operating procedures that Rex and Clint laid out for them. They ask about this, tell them because of that. Let it be all generic. Why are you making them be connected to the community on that level so we can have all this emotion flying back and forth? But it's limited to 140 characters. I don't want them to be sitting there on Twitter for hours arguing with people or trying to explain stuff to people when they could be making the game. And to me, man, if y'all know that y'all have not significantly changed franchise since Madden 13, careers came out in the first place, and you've gotten feedback from franchise every year, I just felt so disrespectful. That was so disrespectful to mad scientists, y'all, to whoever else that had some type of pro CFM movement. I'm saying specifically to Shotmaster. We all had him on the banner of y'all game about franchise. And the people that shared in all those years prior was like, we ain't got nothing to talk about no more, yo. If you haven't listened to my feedback at this point, it's clear you don't care. I would tell the people in the community, y'all have told the people in the community, I'm talking to my game changers right here. Go do your education before you open your mouth and speak to me. Go do your homework and then talk to me. Y'all had a show a couple weeks ago. I've been made videos about this. We've been there, done that. We ain't bringing up APF. We ain't bringing up 2K5. It's the same thing in reverse to them. And they need to realize, y'all have objectively, completely passed the CFM side of the game to the side. And every move that y'all have made, in the grand scheme of things, and as long as we can remember at this point. So if y'all come the white glove treatment, CFM crowd, because y'all are really gonna sit there and talk about what y'all about to do for CFM this year, y'all can go ahead, and y'all just gonna be on top until y'all get what we've been done asked for year after year after year. So like I said, I hope I'm not being too melodramatic and all about it, but it's just like, I'm just like, yo, if you say that to me at this point, what are we even talking about? That's all I had to say.
Yeah, man. Well, we always appreciate you coming on, brother. Anytime, we love to get perspectives, from other people in the community, man. And, that's why we encourage more and more people to take advantage of coming on the show, calling in, being a panelist. But real quick, man, I'll address what Des said, and then I'll, give my quick feedback as far as what I see on the document here. Here's the thing about Twitter. See, Rex and Clint, to my knowledge, they choose to be on there. It's been times where, up the ladder, they necessarily want Rex on Twitter, and there's been things that maybe they didn't agree with what he said. But here's the problem with being on Twitter. It's cool that we have, well, I'll say you guys, because, our access is a little different. But it's cool that you have that kind of direct access to the community. But here's the problem. Like Des said, it becomes too much of having arguments with customers or saying things out of emotion or making a promise and then something changes. Like it puts you in the line of fire automatically to where somebody's going to rub you the wrong way one day. That happens. Somebody going to catch you in a moment where you ain't feeling it and you block them. So then that makes it's like, it's cool to have the interaction, but it needs to be limited, pop in, pop out. Because here's the other problem, like Dad said, you still work for a company. And I really feel like a lot of that stuff is company talk. So what would you guys like to see? Because it's Dad said exactly what I've been said weeks ago. When it comes to CFM, I told John White, I told Rex, and anybody else working on CFM, don't ask me for no more feedback. The post is still on my page. I attached Deuce Douglas list, and I said, here you go. Everything on that man list is stuff I would love to see in CFM. You do not have to ask me for any feedback in terms of what I want to see until these things have been added, however long it takes. But until we can get to a point where I can say, wow, we got all that stuff in the game, then maybe I could give you feedback on what's missing. Until that point, here's your feedback. You don't need to ask him for any feedback. Smitty knows that. Azure knows that. I told that to them directly. I ain't got nothing else to say until we're working off of this list. That's the stuff I want. That's the stuff Shop wants. That's the stuff Mad Side wants. That's the stuff Dez would like to see. That's the stuff Deuce Douglas obviously would like to see. That's it. So that's the problem with the whole Twitter thing, man, is like you said, you still a company, man, and every now and then you got to be corporate. That we know how that game works. But at the same time, when you just having conversation with people, and I'm not saying it's bad, I'm just saying it puts you in these boxes at times, and it is what it is. And in terms of, I would say this like I've always said, in terms of us, listen, I tell people every time, man, I am a guy that's allowed to go to EA Sports, give my feedback, and that's it. Come back, do the show, tell you guys what I saw, whether it was good or bad. Tell you guys when things went wrong. Tell you guys when, that's saying what I saw. Or sometimes I say, oh, that's different from, oh, that's better than that's it. Like your beef should never be with me or anybody else that conducts themselves the way we do. This is just, for anybody who feels that way. We hear the noise. You see all the stuff. Oh, the game changes. And then, listen, at the end of the day, if you worrying about what I had to say, that's your problem. At the end of the day, I don't listen. I don't pay attention to what nobody says and take it for gospel. I will listen, but then I experience that for myself, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, they was right. Even with things like music. Somebody tell me somebody's album is hot, I listen to it, and I ain't really like that. But I don't go back to them and say, man, you said it was. And at the end of the day, all we do is tell you the facts. So for anybody who feels like, oh, EA is using these guys, listen, if y'all feel like that, that's on y'all, man. EA ain't using me for jack. I'm willingly doing this game changer thing. I can easily walk away from it. It's really not that big a deal. And I'm not that big a fish in the pond they're using. No, I am not on that level. I'm not big enough for that. But like I said, we're going to always give you the truth. Y'all can do with it what you want to do with it. In terms of the list, I feel like, man, there's a couple things here that we should be able to, let's see, man. Awareness goes without saying. Man, that's something that should be on here every single year. I'm sick and tired of the same old awareness system. Where's the situational awareness? Can we get that? Can my guys at least understand what's happening, even if he's too slow to make the play? Just like in the game Sunday, and shout outs to Dez. I know that was a tough game to watch for both of us. To lose by 1 point really sucks. Ravens played their butts off, came back. It is what it is. But just to reference that game, you think Sean Spence and Arthur Moats didn't know what was coming? When the Ravens, what I thought brilliantly, after they went down 14-0, they said, nah, forget that. Let's go back to power football. We're going to run this ball. There's no Ryan Shazier in there. And they ran that ball down the Pittsburgh Steelers' throat. But could Sean Spence and Arthur Moats stop it? No. They just weren't capable. But they knew what to do. This is what I'm saying with Madden. Can we at least have guys look competent? Whether they make the play or not is not what I'm always asking. I'm not asking for every interception. I'm not asking for every pass deflection. But y'all already know what it is with this AI. I'm tired of it. I'm sick and tired of the AI stuff. Let's see what else. Sliders. Now, I have to agree with Smitty. It's one of them things where we have to wait and see how far they're willing to build it out. Let's take NHL as an example, which to me sets the bar. That took a while to get to that level of slider adjustment. If that's something that they're reaching for, I would love to see that. I just don't know as far as the structure of how sliders are now. Looking at how bland they are now, I don't know if it takes that leap in a cycle. My concern is keeping it all the way real with y'all. I don't know if that's a priority in that building in terms of people cutting the check. I don't know if they're going to deem that as a necessary thing to have. That's why I don't know if that makes it. I would love to see it. Morale system, I think that's something that should be able to be done at least on the surface. Like Azure said, we've already seen dynamic player performance. Remember that? We've seen chemistry, hot and cold streaks. I would feel like morale might tie into that a little bit. Maybe player morale is down, so he's cold. Chemistry ain't quite right. Maybe they could bring chemistry into the fold now since it's in MUT. So if you bring chemistry in, maybe you could build something around that to include morale. That's something that I think is possible in 19. We'll have to see. Camera angles, I think it goes back to what I said about sliders. I don't know if that's high priority. I'm just keeping it real. Let's see. Now, I don't want to read everything, but I want to grab some stuff that I think QB accuracy. That has to be fixed in 19. Come on, man. Can we see some real inaccuracy here and accuracy from guys who are known to be accurate? Like, I want to see Aaron Rodgers type of accuracy on Aaron Rodgers. But another guy might not have. I want to really see that disparity, but I want to see them build out why a guy might be more accurate in a certain situation. Because now, to me, it's placebo, or it's dice roll. You know how in the competitive setting they can say, "Oh, if the pocket's clean, and it's gonna be." I need them to expand that a little bit. Like, I'm cool with saying if the guy has a clean pocket, it's a better chance to have an accurate pass, but then I want the ratings to fall in there. You know, talking about my own team here. Josh Dobbs. What was the knock on Josh Dobbs coming out of college? He's not accurate. He hasn't been that accurate in the NFL either as far as preseason. So if he has a clean pocket, I still want to see him being accurate. You see what I'm saying? It shouldn't be these absolutes. So we got to get that stuff fixed. The blocking. I think you tied it blocking in Smitty and AZ with the AI stuff. You know, when you hear Smitty and I and Azure, you know, I'll say Smitty and I because we, you know, Azure doesn't make videos as much as he once did, but you've seen me and Smitty both point this out in video form. When we talk about situational AI, man, we're talking about across the board. Adaptive AI for everybody, not just the defense, not just zone coverage, but we're talking blocking, kick return, field goals, whatever. The players need to be aware of their surrounding and attempt to make plays. Like my biggest beef for blocks, and I understand it's a video game. Clint has explained to me there's a targeting system, et cetera, et cetera. But I would love to see the game get to a point where the AI can branch. You know, my assignment is to kick out the end. But if the tackle actually crosses my face, I'm hitting him first. You know what I'm saying? Like on a toss sweep, the fullback, he's looking for the inside linebacker or possibly the outside guy. If he, you know, depending on where he's at, sometimes the corner is left alone. Y'all know how it works, certain schemes. But I want my fullback to hit whoever crosses his face. Don't just go to your target and let me get blown up in the backfield. Hit that guy. If the end crashes and he's hit him. And then let the running back do his work in the open field. So we need stuff like that. Let me see what else. I'll go ahead, Smitty, and give him celebrations only because y'all remember when Rex said they had custom celebrations and stuff already recorded. So I would expect to see something like that in 19. Realistic sim engine, man. That shouldn't be too hard, folks. Smitty and Azure and I know since they did start changing CFM, when did that start? Like 15 or whatever? This has been a feedback topic every year. Still doesn't work. This stuff like this has to be addressed. Like some of the things that are in game already, and maybe we're not the best ones to analyze this list in full because y'all know how we feel. Some of the things that are already in game just need to work. And it already takes your game to another level. And then outside of that, I will say that this is another big one, and I think they desperately need it. They do. I think they actually do need some type of career mode outside of long shot. Maybe not for us. Let's be real. We're sim guys. How many of us, let's be honest. Most of us, even because Azure was big with this back in the day, most of us played like my career in 2K just for entertainment value. I don't know if too many people, I mean, even like my series I'm doing with live, you know, with my created player, I don't know if I'm playing it like a sim style, but that's not my sim fix. So I don't know if this really applies to us sim heads, but there is a community out there that wants career mode. And it needs to be similar to be a pro in FIFA or, you know, my career in 2K. So, and I feel like if you were able to build long shot, you should be able to, you know, offer up some type of career mode in 19. So we'll see, man. Outside of that, Tim, if you're listening, you know, we're not discounting anything on your list. I think all of the feedback is good. But, you know, again, we try to give our response to you guys based off of what we see in there in the building and kind of how we have learned how EA as a whole works. So those things I mentioned, I think would probably have the best chance of making it in 19. And also one other thing, the realistic animation. I'm gonna tell you right now, and I think Smitty was going down this road. I'm expecting that in 19.
Yeah.
We on Frostbite year 2. All of this shared technology and all of this. Listen, I'm expecting that game to animate a lot better, and I'm expecting better player movement. That is one of my main things that I'm looking for in 19. If football or any sport starts with how you move first, first and foremost, that stuff has to be on point. And I would love to see some realistic animations. So there you have it. That's all I got on that, man.
I want to add on.
Yeah, go ahead, Smitty.
All right, 2 things. The first thing, going from what Dez was saying, I understand what he's saying, but also at the same time, you also got to look from the position Rex is at. And as he's explained on various podcasts, especially that Muntman one, that was the best one by far that I've heard, where it was broke down as far as the internal battle that he deals with. It helps us make better cases for what needs to be done when you can come to one post. Think about it like this. He can say, yeah, people have given us feedback over the years, and he can point us out, and he can point out other people as well and say, man, these people have said it. But it makes a world of a difference when you could post that one tweet got a bunch of 1,200 responses, 1,200 replies. So if you have 1,200 replies on that, look, everybody doesn't know who Game Changers are. Everybody doesn't know they don't know who we are outside of that. But they know who Rex is, and they see him ask that question. You have sim players, you got dudes that play in sim leagues and all kinds of stuff that don't know us from Adam. Like I said, don't even know what a game changer is. Yet, Rex can come to the table and argue with that stuff. That helps reinforce his points. So it's like, yeah, it's not that he doesn't understand. It's that he has people he has to go up against as well. And it helps. Yes, you saw Game Changers post stuff. I posted something in there and everything else. And we already have said clear as day. Deuce Douglas, I literally said to John White, Deuce Douglas's post, year 1, year 2, year 3, whatever you got to do. That's it. I said, I ain't got, like what Sim said already, same tone. I ain't got nothing else to post. That's it. That's all that needs to happen. But we're just a handful of people. It makes a difference when think about people making points on Twitter, and you can correlate that to the stuff that's said on Deuce Douglas's post. Now you could do that. Rex could come up and say, well, I got all these people that are saying this needs to happen. So when people try to push back and say, no, you can't do that, or scale that back, he could be like, well, I got these people
that
are saying that. So guys, understand this. Rex ain't dumb. Okay, Rex, Clint, these dudes ain't stupid. They know what they're doing. But the problem is that he needs to have a case. He needs people to step to be able to make the case for him and say, look, the community honestly wants this. It's not just me saying it. They want this stuff in the game. So that's to that point there. I just wanted to add that later on to just understand, it's another part to it as well. It's not him just asking it as if he ain't got a clue. That's why I was saying, hey, guys, let him know. Say it. Tell him. You know what I mean? Put it in there because that's going to help his case. You know what I'm saying? That's why he's done the interviews. And that's why if you watch any of his live streams, I don't know how many times he mentions HR and in regards of his actions, because he'll toe the line and sometimes he goes over it multiple times. And he pushes. He'll tell us what he can tell us. He gives us insight and all that stuff. just because. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, I value all that. So it's like, bet that helps people get that inside understanding that may not know what's going on. You know what I mean? Like there's bigger, it's a bigger picture than what some of us get to see.
Yeah.
And he wants us to know that.
It's a method to the madness. I agree with that. But I will agree with the consumer side of it. I could definitely understand what Dez is saying. Like, it is frustrating because Smitty and I and Azure know when we go down there sometimes, like we've literally had questions like that asked to us by devs in person. So what do you want to? And I've literally said, man, I said the same thing last year. You know what I want. Like I don't have to tell you that again. So there's a little give and take there, but I would have to side with Smitty in regards to if you see it come from Rex on a forum like that. I'm sure that's why. Because remember, I told you guys before, last time I was down there, you know, he was showing us like tweets, like some of the most popular things, and like he was showing us how he had it structured. And like, yeah, I take this into the production meetings, and it's a method to it. But I clearly understand why all of us can get frustrated by seeing that and have the reaction like, come on, man, you already know what we want. But part of it is corporate too, man. You got to know how that game works. So, AZ, man, did you have anything to add? You know, in regards to anything Dez mentioned when he was on?
Nah, man, with a situation over here, so I don't have anything to add.
No problem, man. Well, shoot, we got a little time left, Smitty, man. If you want to go into, I know AZ wanted to talk about the NBA thing, so
I'll bring that up in 1 second. Like this question here by Pooh here, just want to answer that real quick. Hey, do we feel like they'll address more than enough problems? That's a subjective, to be honest, that's a subjective question to answer. And the only reason why I say that is because, yes, while people point out issues, they can address stuff and people will have a problem with that being addressed. Those same people. So to answer it right now, I couldn't answer that. So I can only answer that by saying hopefully. But as Rex said, multiple podcasts are out there. It's a battle that he has to fight. It's just it. That's just it. So, you know, but
I think we do have a responsibility, though. Let me say this real quick, Smitty.
Yeah, go ahead.
And this is something I've always said. We need to keep the pressure on them.
Oh, yeah.
When you get a chance to talk to him on Twitter, he talks back. Ask those real questions. Hold them accountable for what they said, because we do it. We do it all the time. You know, y'all might not always see it because we have conversations offline, but I could show y'all the conversation I had with Rex the other day. And y'all will be like, okay, Sam, like this is how we talk. But we need you guys to do it too. Like anything, remember when we told y'all this a couple years ago? Yo, anything you hear them say, make sure you make them know that you won't forget that. We got to hold them accountable for what they tell us. I understand. We understand the structure of answers to people, et cetera, et cetera. But where we have the power as a community, anything that's out in the product, anything that you give us, we can rip that apart. And like we all have been doing, I think there's been a massive this year. I'll have to say this, Smitty. I'm a little proud at how the Madden community as a whole kind of banded together in a way, even if they didn't know they didn't. And how we're all kind of dissatisfied with 18. We were completely dissatisfied with the way the zones were, and still even now. But it was good to see that both competitive and sim and all these others was all giving them heat. That's the stuff that we need to continue to do, because even the people who worry about the bottom line, those things affect the bottom line and the perception. So as much as we're saying we understand Rex and them, and we still gotta, that's the job you in. We gotta hold them accountable, man. So anything that they show us or give us, make sure you let them know your frustration or hold them accountable for what they claim is going to be presented in the product.
Yeah, and the other thing too, this is the other part I was thinking about as well. Like you said, improvements and everything we're expecting out of 19. look, this will be the first year. And see, this is the main thing I got to say this. This will be the first year of them implementing things from other games on from other games that are on Frostbite. Because Rex said in that Muttman podcast that, oh man, this game has this game has that. Ooh, let me get it. We're eager to get this stuff. Okay. So with that being said, this is year one of you doing that. So now I want to see how efficient it is doing so. Okay. And the reason why I say that is because, look, okay, even though it's a different company and all that, NBA 2K18, if you listen to the podcast, that the last one that Czar did, the last hangout they did, he said that the way the defense plays and all that stuff, that's a phase one implementation. This is a year one move they made. So with all that tenure, all that basketball know-how they got in that building, look at how rough around the edges the gameplay is, right? Because that's the first year of them doing that on that system like that. Like that's the first year thing. This year, Madden 18, they just got the game over there. So it wasn't like they got the game over and then built up already. No. They just got it over. That's why we see all these problems in the gameplays, not up to snuff and all that. That's that whole engine transition. All right? Now, and plus we know the other parts too. You had dudes working on live, dudes working on long shot and stuff like that. So, and plus you're making the transition. So it was that you had your rough parts. Now you got your staff, you got your team, you can focus in. This is what we're looking for and we're expecting. If you're saying you're antsy to get stuff from all these other games, then I'm expecting, like what Sim said, I'm expecting to see the game leap up. Now, how much? I don't know. I'm not going to set the ceiling unrealistically high, but I want to see what the difference is going to be with them being on that platform now on Frostbite and making the difference with the games. What difference is it going to make? And I really want to start to see that with Madden 19. Oh, we were able to take this and we were able to take that. And because of this, now we could do this. And because of that, we could do da. So therefore, okay, bet. Now let's see how it comes to fruition in this year one. You know, this will be technically second year, but you get my point. Mm-hmm. So yeah, so I'm with Sim all the way on that one, and that's the whole thing. I don't want to walk in there and then come out and be like disappointed. So looking forward to what they plan to and what they are able to deliver on and execute efficiently on with that. But going from there, NBA 2K League. All right, look, man. 2K is trying to make they're trying to make an impact with this league. They're doing something here. Like they're straight putting players in. Look, if you make it, okay, you got to play your 50 games. Like I'm just looking on the website here. January 1st through 31st, you got to win 50 games in Pro-Am, whether you're on the team or the walk-on or a combo of both. Okay, so you're going to create your own My Player after the fact if you make it and you're drafted. But the cool part is, once you build your player, it said they'll be around a 90 overall. They said the live draft, it'll be held in March 18th. So, yeah, that's going to be aired. I don't know if it's going to be on TV or they'll Twitch stream it or whatever, but it'll be on the air. And the people that are drafted, it's like NBA draft legit. You're going to that city of the 17 cities. They'll be provided housing. And, okay, the teams will decide the housing structure and the facilities. Players will have access to things like their NBA team facilities. They'll sign a 6-month contract with the franchise that drafts them. Players will be paid a competitive guaranteed salary along with housing and benefits. In addition, players will have the opportunity to earn additional money during the season. That's pretty crazy right there. They'll be flown to a so they'll be flown to a central studio or two to play their games for best network connection purposes. Okay. They're saying that the quarters may be 6 minutes for the Pro-Am, but that's not confirmed yet. But all in all, that's a huge leap out there. Like, you really are trying to jump into that E-League space and make an impact. And you know something? From that can entice people, just like Zard made this point too. That can entice other people that are trying to get involved in esports that may not necessarily play 2K like that. But they're like, oh, what do I got to do? Oh, I got to get 50 wins? Okay, let me learn. You know, they could go ahead and invest, put in the money, build up their My Player or whatever, go out there on the courts and learn how to, you know, get a feel for the game and play. I mean, they don't have much time, obviously. It starts January 1st. But the point is, they could get involved, get their stick skill weight up, and get out there and possibly make it. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, looking at this but this is crazy right here. Like, this is unheard of. I don't pay full attention. You know, we're not all in on esports like that, but at the same time, I ain't never seen it, you know, be this big before. You know, something on this magnitude. This is huge. So I got to give it to 2K in that regard. Like, this is how you jump out there and say, hey, we're going from just doing the tournaments. We're going to do this full-blown league with, you know, I'm pretty sure they're going to have a finals and all that stuff. So that's what's up. I'll throw it to you. I know AZ wanted to say something about it.
Oh, yeah. AZ, what you got, man?
You come back on that. Oh, he's still.
Yeah, I'm still.
Oh, there you go. There you go.
Over here going crazy. So
no biggie, no problem, man.
I wanted to say that it's basically something that could be groundbreaking for esports. You know what I'm saying? To see an actual pro teams branch out and say, we're going to do this and we're going to put monetary gains behind it for our players. I mean, think about that, you know. Kids as it is, and kids nowadays, they grow up, not saying that they don't want to play sports, but they know 2K. They know Madden. And for them to grow up with pro gamers, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like it is now. Now, we had going down with, you know, betting on games and, you know, hey, I pay $50, we'll play for $50, blah, blah, blah. But now we're talking about real amounts of money laid on the table. You can provide or put some.
Yeah, that'd be crazy, man. He cut out a little bit there, y'all, but I know what he was saying. I could pick up where he left off. He's right. I mean, the era that we're in now, we didn't grow up in that. There wasn't a skimbo and a problem. I mean, a problem, you know, it's been doing it for years, but you understand what I'm saying? These people are making real money. But to agree with what Azure said, what 2K is doing, to me, I like that idea of it being a league. And maybe Madden could transition to something like that as well. Because you notice with the, you know, Madden Championship Series, now they do have those club series events that I think they're doing now. Like, I think they did one in Miami recently. Last year, I know they had one for the Steelers. I was going to go there for that event, but I ended up not going. But Minnesota, I mean, because I know I've seen somebody said that, you know, the whole NFL is not behind EA yet in terms of Madden. You might be right, but I think that's definitely coming. I think that's why they're introducing the club series where more teams are getting involved. But imagine if Madden also follows suit with 2K, because obviously, like Azure said, you got to give 2K the credit for breaking ground. If they pull this off and it performs well, obviously, that's the obvious way for Madden to go. So imagine now you got these guys who qualify, and they'll be the players for that team. And it's a league. It's not just the Madden Championship Series. It's an actual league. And then guys have to play the Super Bowl. And like he said, these guys are being paid a salary. I guess you could still do the Madden Championship Series because I think that's still a way to allow people to get more bread, or maybe people who don't make it into being representing a team, they could still win a championship. So maybe you would have both. But yeah, that 2K, I'm peeking at it, seeing what they're doing. That's crazy. These dudes could literally be professional gamers.
Yeah.
Not that they, like I said, Skimbo and those guys are professional gamers too. But this would be a league where they're getting paid a salary to be in this league. That's crazy.
Yeah, and it's in conjunction with a pro sports team. To me, that's the major thing. It's not like Madden to where it's an individual, and the individual might have sponsors. This is the actual basketball team saying, I am behind this. These are our players. So it's big, and I think, like I said, it's going to branch out into other sports. I'm surprised FIFA hasn't really, done it like I guess NBA 2K is, but I'd love to see, Madden branch out and do a CFM type deal, because CFM gets no love, dog. Absolutely no love when it comes to, pubbing and it being on the main stage. So,
But you know what though? There are excuse me. While FIFA doesn't have a season that they do, but they do got a lot of players that are sponsored by clubs.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So and the NFL, I think there's only like 3 or 4 teams, I think, right now that the NFL that have players backing them. Because the Lions are one of them. But I know it's like a few other teams though that have esport players, they got them signed a contract. So that's really the main thing that's happening with esports right now. 2K is doing something completely different. You're getting drafted, you're signing a contract, you live in, they got your housing set up, and you traveling around playing other teams.
That's ridiculous, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's what said. You're a part of that team, basically.
Yeah. I mean, they're saying you're gonna be able to access the facilities and all that stuff, dude.
Bro, all it is a real life My Career.
Yeah, real talk. Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't see this. So let me ask you this: when they do that, are the guys playing with their players, or are they playing with the NBA players from that team?
No. They're going to create, it says here, they get to create a My Player. So they're not going to use their current My Player. They only use their current guy when they qualify. So the qualification, they use their own. But when they started, they're going to make a new My Player of their own. And they said their rating will be close to a 90. So that way they'll be good. But they got to start over.
The grind. Can we respect the grind? Can dudes start off at 60?
Oh no, not with this game.
No, I'm just saying.
They got it set up.
I mean, you can make a 60 better than it was. I used to break people off with this. I mean, if we all 60s, that doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's gonna be amazing.
Yes, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody will be around the same rating.
I really hope they pull it off, man.
Yeah, because that's crazy.
Is it gonna be it's one person per team? So say with my Sixers, it's gonna be this one guy that's representing the Sixers. Is it like that?
No, because they're drafting.
Because I didn't read the whole thing.
There's 85. There's 85 players will be 85 players will be put in the draft pool. I don't know how many players are going to get picked though. altogether because it's 17 teams. I'm pretty sure there's going to be multiple guys.
There's more than one person because it's 5-on-5, right? Didn't it say something about?
Yeah. Yep. So it's at least 5.
Yeah, each team would draft. They would draft a team, I'm guessing. Oh, because it might be more than that. It might be a roster. It might be 12.
Yeah, I think they said they're gonna have like alternates just in case, like if somebody's ill or whatever, you know what I mean, and they need somebody to fill a spot. So they may have like a legitimate, roster, like you said, legitimate like 6-7 guys.
See, AZ, we sitting here, man, and we sitting here talking about our kids and playing football. Man, our kids might grow up to be professional gamers, man.
Yeah, man, I need to start going and training right now.
Wow.
Forget all that. Forget having CTE and all that other stuff. Get out there, get you a controller, boy.
Wow, that's crazy, dude.
And see, the thing is, outside of the article, from what Czar has said, you're going to have dietitians and nutritionists and stuff like that as part of your staff and everything, making sure you right when you
because you can't have
the house and all that.
Gamers who just sit on the couch all day.
Oh yeah,
represent the team.
Yeah,
can't be
like we're gonna have our gamers out there, right?
Yeah, you don't want to develop no couch potato, then.
Right.
Wow.
We can't be a sports team and you out there with the keg.
Right.
Yeah, this is interesting, man. I'm looking forward to seeing how this pans out because, like we've said many times before, here's the difference: 2K has problems. We all know that, but the game is in a better position. It's gonna. I think it might show well, man. It's in a better position to show well, like on TV or via stream or what have you. Because just think of when you I watch my boy. Shout outs to my man K Spade. I watch Spade streams all the time with his his pro-am, and it looks good. Now, of course, real basketball heads, we can see stuff like defense sloppy and because you don't know how. But when you watch teams like his and other guys, these cats are playing 5-on-5. Like Spade is responsible for this side of the court. This dude is gonna be the scorer. This guy's gonna be the man getting boards. This guy's playing the perimeter. Like, it's amazing to see.
But see, you know what? The difference here, though, with this is that you're not going in with your team.
Right.
You know what I mean? So you got to hope that that guy that you play with, he ain't out there just like what Czar said. If you out there just, I'm a cross and drive and do all that one-man army basketball all day, that's what you're going to end up doing when you out there. You're going to embarrass yourself and your team. Playing like that, it's like you got to know how to play team ball, legitimately play team ball, because you always going to fall back on what you naturally like to do. And you'll do it on that grand stage when all the lights are on you. You're going to do what you know best. And if it's hogging, you see what I'm saying? So it's like you got to play some legit ball if you really going to make it or potentially make it, because you're going to be in that pool. So, hey, man.
This is going to be dope.
It's going to be crazy.
Hats off to 2K, man. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy. But hey, guys, that's the show, man. I've been summoned, especially since it's close to the holiday time, that we need to start wrapping the show up at 10. That's what she's been telling me. Like, you said it's from 8 to 10, so I know the saying, man. You got to keep the wife happy, man. But that's gonna do it, guys. Hope everybody has a great weekend. Sorry, guys, if your team is playing tonight, one of you are gonna lose. And good luck to everybody's team, except the Patriots, of course. But hey, we're gonna see how that's gonna pan out. Like, y'all know how I feel about it. I don't know. But stay tuned, man. Tomorrow I'll be doing my keys to victory and giving my thoughts on what may take place in the game. So I'll give y'all more of that on then. But other than that, AZ, you got any last words before we sign out?
Nah, man, appreciate everybody participating in the show. As always, people come through and watching and commenting and all that, giving us topics and stuff to go on. Keep doing that, and we can continue the discussion as well on Twitter or whatever. You can hit us up, hit me up. Always love to talk football, sports, that kind of stuff.
Yes, sir. Smitty, what you got, man?
Yeah, no, I'm in the same tone as AZ, man. You know, just appreciate everybody coming through, hanging out with us, you know, giving topics and stuff like that, and just being able to elaborate on some things. And, you know, it's always this is a highlight of the week. So for a lot of people, especially for me, you know, I greatly appreciate it. Appreciate all y'all out there listening and watching. So y'all all take care. God bless y'all.
Absolutely, man. I echo what they're saying. We appreciate everyone's participation. God bless to everybody. And speaking of that, real quick, man, it's only fitting just to end it this way. I saw a guy get carted off the field for the Colts. Kind of reminded me of Shazier. You know, the guy wasn't really moving so much. Pray for these guys, man. Pray for him. Pray for Ryan Shazier. You know, if you're religious, what have you, or you're spiritual, shoot a prayer for these dudes, man. Because you see a guy like Shazier, man. Man, it's just, let's be honest, man. The man's 25. He's on his last year of his contract. This could be it. You know, depending on how he recovers. And hey, at 25, beautiful fiance. You know, you got a kid. You might say, hey, I'm done. You know, so the man might not ever play football again, and all he was doing was playing football and freak accident. So just pray for that guy, man. Pray that the man is able to walk. That's all I'm hoping for. I don't even care about him being a still on the field again. If he does, he does. But outside of that, it's just tough to see, man, because, you know, they FaceTimed him after the game. It's just tough to see him in that situation. Like, dang. You know, so as much as we love these sports, man, you know, shoot a little prayer for these players, man, that these guys can at least stay healthy. Nothing life-threatening, you know what I mean? So there you go. Catch you guys next week. Hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll be back next Thursday with another show. Y'all be easy. Peace.
Peace.